Hey guys, it's Cayley. I'm back with another What Sold from Last Week video. In today's video, we're going to go over sales on eBay and Poshmark and what is currently selling right now on both those platforms.
All right, you guys, so all these sales happened between February 18th through the 24th. It was a pretty good sales week for me. My items sold in total between the two platforms was 242 items. Gross item sales were $7,527.27, making my average item sale price around $31, a lot lower than where I wanted it to be, but still moving out older inventory, accepting a lot of lower offers on Poshmark because goal moving forward after we hit this slump that I'm in with increasing average sale price, I'm going to work on reducing my inventory by a couple thousand pieces. So I'm kind of just doing two things at once. I'm not going to, not work on a goal of mine if the opportunity presents itself by people sending me offers to move out older items. So my goal right now is still to try and mainly focus on increasing my average sale price to $35 to $40. However, at the same time, like I said, I'm getting opportunities to move out older inventory. So that is what I am doing. You can see on eBay, sales were much, much higher, and on Poshmark, sales were much, much lower. Average sale price on eBay was around $38. So as far as like stuff I'm picking up now and the stuff that's selling quickly, I do feel like we are doing a great job of increasing our average item sale price. So I am very happy with those numbers and hope that that will continue to be the case. And after all of those older items flush out, we can maintain the average sale price of all the newer items. So going to dive in really quickly because I do have a lot to share with you guys. Per you guys' requests, as I did in the last video, I also grabbed some bread and butter items of stuff that I sell that kind of, they don't sell quickly normally and they don't sell for a lot, but they do pad my sales and I like to pick them up. So I sprinkled some of those in towards the middle of the video as well. Let's dive on into Poshmark. This was one of my best sales, if not the best sale of the week. This is a vintage Grateful Dead shirt. If you guys didn't know, Grateful Dead stuff does pretty well. I mean, it really depends on what you get. There's a lot of modern stuff out there, but the vintage stuff for sure can do well. You can see that this shirt is very worn in. There's multiple stains and holes throughout, which we made sure to note. I personally think since it's vintage, it added to the appeal of the item, which was pretty cool. But this is a vintage single stitch t-shirt. I listed this for $250 or best offer, which is something that I normally do if I don't really know what I should get for an item. I price at the higher range of comps and allow buyers to send me offers. I received an offer very quickly for $165. Very quickly, meaning within a couple of months. Usually stuff that's priced higher takes a lot longer to sell. So for me, a couple months is pretty quickly on an item priced this high. But I got an offer for $165 and I did go back and forth like, should I counter? Should I see if they can meet me in the middle? Or do I just want to move this item? I ultimately decided I just wanted to move the item. So I accepted the offer of $165 for the shirt. Next up, this is kind of a niche thing I like to look for. They are leather, distressed looking leather jackets. This one is by Eddie Bauer. It is genuine leather. It is a larger size. And when I say distressed, I don't mean that there's any holes or tears in the leather. I just simply mean that there's kind of like an overall fading or a uniqueness to the color of the leather. And sometimes that can add value. I don't know if you guys remember when hobo chic was a thing a couple of years ago, but this kind of falls under that realm. It's kind of grungy, the items have a lot of uniqueness, which I think is what people are really after. People want one of a kind standout statement pieces. This one is not too statement-y, but it is a very classic distressed leather looking jacket. I did include that keyword hobo because that was a popular aesthetic. Again, larger size. This one I listed for $115 and it sold the same day I listed it for my full asking price. I picked this up at a thrift store when Joe and I were traveling in Virginia for $15. The thrift store had it priced up, but 15 into 115 is amazing profits, especially when it sells the same day. And I actually priced this at the higher end of the comps and was willing to sit, but as you guys can see, it sold very quickly and very well. So keep your eye out for stuff like this. There are certain brands I feel like Eddie Bauer, that do have a following for this, but I'll also pick up ones that the brand just doesn't really matter if the factors are there. All right, next up, this is a brand I mention all the time. It is such a good brand. I won't talk about it too much, but if you find pretty much anything in this brand, it's really good. Great sell-through rates. This is Frank and Eileen. This is the Patrick pullover shirt. I listed it for $100. It sold on an offer to watcher for $85. And it only took about a week to sell. This is an item I'm totally willing to pay up for too. So obviously do your comps with the style and the size and the fact that it's pre-owned, but definitely worth looking into even if it's priced up at your thrift store. Here's another Frank and Eileen. These did go to different people, but they sold within the same week. This also only took about a week to sell. And this is a hoodie, which is not something I've seen from them before. So keep your eye out for that. You can see it looks very plain, kind of distressed around the edges. I listed this for $90. This actually I don't think was manufactured that way. And I can't get the picture to stop. A DIY V-neck. Listed it for $90. It sold on an offer to watcher within a week for $76. So absolutely keep your eye out for Frank and Eileen. All right, this one's more of a factor stacking piece. This is Bell Sport, not a brand that I would say everything does well in, but this was a women's size large. It was a leather jacket and it was bright pink. Again, talking about those statement pieces. If you guys see really key statement pieces that have all the popular aesthetic factors, in this case, this one's kind of like Barbiecore. I definitely look it up. There's a lot of things I think resellers pass on just because of brand, because they don't know what factors are popular. So statement pieces for sure I'm looking into. They've got to have an it factor. They've got to have some stuff going for it. This one definitely did, even with something missing on it, which was a grommet on the sleeve. I listed it for $65. It sold for full asking price and it sold the same day we listed it. So keep your eye out for that. I definitely think it's factor stacking and a lot of keywords. Next up, this is a newer brand to me. It is Nisa. And in general, you want to keep your eye out for this aesthetic, this again, very unique statement piece. This is very wide leg, kind of baggy looking. These are the kind of pants people are looking for right now. So super wide leg palazzo jeans is what we called them. Vintage Nisa brand does seem to be a bolo in vintage. This one we listed for $70. It sold for our full asking price and it only took about a week to sell. This is a brand I love finding. I don't find it very often, but in the men's department, you definitely want to look for this brand. It is Filson, or it might just say CC Filson. Very great brand. This one's actually a women's shirt, and apparently they do make women's, that I listed just a flannel shirt for $55. It did have a couple of spots, otherwise I might have listed it higher, and it sold for our full asking price. This one did take several months to sell, so maybe those spots kind of hindered it. Maybe I should have priced it a little bit lower. Or you guys might recognize this hoodie. You guys are going crazy for this in that haul video. This is also one that I found in Virginia. Such a great piece. I don't know anything about this brand, but regardless of brand, I would have picked this up. Very thick knit, bright multicolor. Again, a statement piece. It's standing out. It's got that it factor. This is the kind of thing that people are looking for. So this was a vintage Y2K piece in a size large by the brand Sorbet. Just absolutely gorgeous. I did try to spot treat this. There were very faint spots throughout. I was not able to get them out, but they were very faint. So I still felt pretty confident with this piece. I did have to, kind of make up a price for this one. I listed on the higher end at $60 because I loved it so much. And it sold for an offer to watcher of $51. And this sold within about a week of being listed. Next up, this is another vintage piece. Having a lot of vintage in this video, so hopefully you guys like it. This is Pierre Cardin. Anytime I see a vintage midi or maxi link dress, I usually look it up, especially in these kind of grungy micro florals. This we listed at $50. It was also full button, which added a lot of value as well. Listed at $50, it did sell for my full asking price. However, this one did take several months to sell, but pretty good return on investment. So keep your eye out for stuff like this. Another statement piece, this is Lawrence Kazar. I definitely don't pick up everything in this brand. I used to. I do not anymore. They make a lot of like beaded dresses, jackets, sweaters, things like that. Used to pick up everything. Not so much anymore. Definitely has to have a lot of factors. In this case, this one was a larger size. It was silk, and again, very unique. It factors to this one. I listed this at $50, which is probably lower than most people would list this. But again, it hasn't been performing very well for me as a brand, so I wanted to make sure I left enough room for the buyer to be enticed by a lower price. So it did sell for my full asking price. This one also took a few months to sell. Next up, this is just Johnny Was. I think we all know about Johnny Was, but definitely want to keep your eye out for stuff like this during spring and summer. It's just a very hot selling brand during this time of the year. I listed this for $50. It sold for my full asking price. It was called the Ridden Tunic Top. All right, this is a vintage Gunny Sacks prairie skirt, maxi skirt. I unfortunately did not have the set, but cute piece. And if you see really anything like this in any brand, it might be worth getting because the prairie dresses, skirts, tops, and things like that are pretty popular aesthetic right now. Surprisingly, the comps were not great on just the skirts alone, so I priced a little bit lower because of that. At $50, it sold for full asking price, and it sold the same day it was listed. Next up, this is a newer brand to me. It is called Jack Wolfskin. This is a men's size large waterproof jacket by, I think this is like their technology called Texapore, probably like a waterproof thing, but really great comps on this. We listed this for $45. It sold on an offer for $38, and it did take a couple of months to sell. Next up, this is a brand I really like looking for in longer length dresses, so like midi or maxi length. This is Soft Surroundings. It was called the Santiago dress. Again, midi to maxi, and this brand in spring and summer in the past has performed really well for me. We'll see this year, but so far it's looking good. I listed this for $50. It sold for an offer to watcher for $42. This one did take a while to sell. I probably listed it a little too high. Next up, this is a brand that has pretty surprising comps, a brand I used to skip on, but it seems to be performing well. It is Alembica, specifically when you get into larger sizes. They make kind of like log and looky, more mature stuff. I listed these pants for $50. They sold on an offer to watcher for $42, and these ones only took 2 days to sell. I also like selling this brand in I guess I would say factor stacking things. I talk about a lot. Maybe I shouldn't be talking about Eileen Fisher so much, but it is one of my best selling brands. Plus sizes all day long. I would pretty much get anything. Anything lower than plus size, I do have to factor stack. In this case, this is a more substantial piece. Excuse me. Losing my voice after all the videos and the whatnot shows. This is 100% silk. It is a size extra large, which is not bad, and it's a more substantial piece in a dress. Kind of has something unique to it. It's asymmetric, so lots of factor stacking. Listed this for $45. It did sell for my full asking price, and this one only took a little less than a week to sell. Next up, this is the brand XCVI. This kind of goes along with that unique looking log and look style. This brand in general performs pretty well for me. I know some people have trouble selling it. For me, if it's a larger size, it performs very well. Otherwise, I just look for something super unique. So this is a size extra large jacket. I think the jackets are a little bit harder to come by than the pants. I listed this for $40. It did sell for my full asking price. And this one sold the same day it was listed. All right, next up, this is a brand you might want to look for in spring and summer. It performed really well for me last year, and I would expect would probably sell well again this year. It is Lulu B. specifically in their like nylon stretchy material, that scuba feel dress or top, because these dresses and tops have UPF, which is what they are known for. So this one I listed for $40. It sold for my full asking price. This did take a few months to sell, but I did also, list it in winter. So probably nobody's buying UPF stuff in winter. So it just took a moment to get to the right season. All right, next up, this is another vintage piece. It is Nike Air Jordan. These are a pair of men's vintage velour sweatpants. These, if you look up comps for them, the comp range is much, much lower than what I listed mine for. However, I thought mine was a more unique piece, and so I priced a little bit higher, and I'm glad that I did. I listed these for $50. They sold on an offer to watcher for $39, and they sold the same day I listed them. So I do feel like that was a good pickup, and sometimes I will go against comps if I feel that I have something more unique. This is a denim brand that performs pretty well, good sell-through rates. Raleigh Denim, made in North Carolina. Originally, when I came across this brand, they were men's jeans. I have now learned that they also make women's jeans. So keep your eye out for these. These we listed up $35. They did sell for our full asking price, and they sold the same day that we listed them. These are a pair of kid shoes, which I think are so cute. And I know not everybody's looking in kid shoes, but if you happen to catch out of the corner of your eye something like really unique or stand out, or collaboration, it can perform really well. These are a pair of Adidas Toddlers Monster Inc. sneakers. We listed them for $35. They did sell for our full asking price, and they took a couple of months to sell. Next up, getting into some more kind of like bread and butter stuff. This is a Talbot's plus size blazer. A lot of factor stacking here. It was herringbone. It was pink, which is a popular color. It was plus size, and it's a more substantial piece. I listed this for $35. It sold on an offer to watcher for $30. This one took, a couple of months to sell. It's really hard to pick up, I don't know, I guess to talk about these kind of like mall brands like Talbot's and explain how to get to a higher sale price with them, because most Talbots are only selling for $10, $15, sometimes $20, and they don't really have a high sell-through rate. So I worry about showing people this label and people just taking off with it and buying everything Talbots, which is what a lot of resellers did a couple of years ago. So just remember, you gotta factor stack. If it's a brand that doesn't normally sell well in general, you really have to put in a lot of effort and factors to get it to a price point that you need it to be. So in this case, all of those factors were combined, and Talbot's plus size pieces do perform pretty well for me. Next up, this is a golf wear brand you might want to be on the lookout for. Golf wear stuff is starting to sell for me in spring and summer. It is one of my core categories that I look for. This is the brand Loudmouth, and they make very loud print shorts and polos, things like that. So this is a pair of men's shorts, very bright colored. They're not going for as much as they used to, but they're doing pretty well. These ones I listed for $30. They sold for my full asking price, and they only took about a week to sell. Another category that doesn't normally perform well, but here's an example of a brand that does perform well in that category, are shorts, which soon the thrift stores are going to be switching over to like a lot of capris, a lot of shorts, and it just in general isn't really a category that you can find enough substantial pieces in. But one brand that does still perform well in shorts is Lululemon, so keep your eye out for it. These are a pair of women's speed up shorts. Usually with women's Lululemon shorts, depending on what the style and size is, I can usually get like $30 to $35 for them on average. These ones we listed for $30. They sold for full asking price. These did take a few months to sell, again, just listed in the wrong season. Here is another good bread and butter. It is Free People larger sizes, size large and up, sells very well for me. This is a size extra large, kind of like tunic overlay top. I listed this for $30. It sold for my full asking price the same day that I listed it. Another Free People item. This is a open front kimono. Gorgeous piece, something I'll definitely look for, and Free People are like more substantial pieces. This is a more substantial piece for me. A viewer actually asked about purchasing this. I'm not sure if that's who ended up purchasing it. If so, and you're watching, thank you so much for your purchase. Always cool to get a purchase from a viewer, and I hope you love it. It may not even be the same person, but this sold very quickly after I listed it 3 days later for an offer to watcher of $30. So keep your eye out for pieces like this in Free People during spring and summer. All right, this is a new brand to me in the bra section. You guys definitely want to remember this. I think it's Evelyn and Bobby. We just put Evelyn Bobby. Anyways, this brand has an incredible sell-through rate. I want to say it was like 300 or 400%. So definitely over 200%. So keep your eye out for it, look it up, get to know it, Evelyn Bobby, because this just looks like a comfort bra, right? If you didn't know about this brand, you might be passing on it. We listed this one for $35 pre-owned. It sold on an offer to watcher for $30, and it sold the same day we listed it. Next up, this is more bread and butter for me during spring and summer, Tommy Bahama silk shirts. You definitely cannot get as much for these as you used to. I used to be able to list them for $40 to $50 all day long. Not the case anymore. Usually it's $25 to $30, and that is if I can find it in a larger size. Or a really nice print. This one's a pretty plain, but it's a size extra large silk shirt. I listed it for $25 to ensure that it moved quickly. It did sell for my full asking price, and it took a couple of months to sell. There are some pieces in Tommy Bahama silk shirts that still can do well. I just picked up one that has like an embroidered like lady sitting in a martini glass on the back, and it says Cigar Club. Those ones seem to perform well, but it has to have something really unique to sell for a lot more. So, don't go picking up everything Tommy Bahama. Make sure you do your factor stacking. Another bread and butter for me, and I won't go into too much detail, but Logo Lori Goldstein plus size stuff. This one I listed for $25. It sold on an offer to watcher for $21. So again, really low average sale price, but it does help pad my sales, and it sells well for us. This one is just kind of a factor stacking. It's swimwear. We got this set new with tags in a bag at the bin, so really low buy-in cost, probably like $2. Cup sheet, size large, matching set, listed it for $25. It sold on an offer to watcher for $21. And this one took a couple of months to sell. Swimwear is definitely selling, guys, so keep your eye out for popular swimwear brands. Another bread and butter, this is a Catherine's 4X tunic top. I listed it for $25. It sold for $21. This one took only about a week to sell. Again, with these lower end brands, you really have to factor stack to get it to a price point where you can sell it. This one's a more substantial piece. It's a longer length. It's boho, so it's on trend, and it's one of their larger sizes in a 4X. And it took all of that to get to $25. So just keep that in mind. Don't go picking up, just plain everyday things in these brands. Here's another one. This is Maggie Barnes. It is also a 4X. Bright multicolor open front kimono. I listed it for $25. This one did sell for my full asking price, and it took only a month to sell. Another Logo Lori Goldstein size 1X tunic top, listed it for $25, sold for my full asking price. This one took about a month to sell. Sorry, 2 months to sell on that last one. This is a J. Jill. Love picking up plus size in this brand. Also, 1X is definitely on the lower end of the plus size. It doesn't sell as well as 2X, 3X. So just keep that in mind. This one did take forever to sell, and I think it's because we originally priced it too high. I listed this for $27. It did end up selling for my full asking price. However, it did take multiple months to sell, and that's probably because it's a size 1X. Next up, another Catherine's piece. This is a 3X open front cardigan. I listed this for $30. It sold on an offer to watcher for $25. This one did take also several months to sell. And last one on eBay before diving into the Poshmark sales. This is awesome, more bread and butter Bob Mackie plus size pieces. This is a 1X 100% silk floral maxi skirt. I listed it for $30. It sold for an offer of $25. This one also took many months to sell. So hope you guys enjoyed the bread and butter. Again, don't go buying like everything in these brands. Really got to factor stack, but certain key pieces can do well. All right, moving on to Poshmark. This is Eileen Fisher. It is a plus size piece, plus it is leather, which really helped it to sell. I think this one sold within just a couple days of being listed for $42, which is an offer. I think that Posher VA sent out automatically. But yeah, this only took a few days to sell. Great comps on the plus size Eileen Fisher leather stuff. This is a more bread and butter brand, but one that is very popular. It is known for being a sustainable brand, and it was also shown on the Posh Trends report a few months ago. Doesn't sell for a lot, but it does have a good following. This is Kent's. This is a midi tank dress. I think I listed it for $30 and accepted an offer of $25. Mar Hoffman's definitely a great bolo brand. This is Mar Hoffman Swim. It is a like cover up maxi dress. I don't remember what I originally listed it for, probably like $65, and accepted this offer of $45. Figs is another bread and butter for me. This is a pair of women's Figs scrub pants, larger size, good style, Cade cargo scrub, and it sold for $30. Another golfwear brand. This is a women's golfwear brand that performs well in spring and summer. It is Jamie Saddock. This top sold for $30. Another pair of Lululemon women's shorts. These ones were more plain and a more saturated style called the Hottie Hot shorts. These ones sold on an offer for $25. Here's a factor stacking piece. This is J. Crew. This is not a brand I get in everything, but I have learned you can factor stack with it. This is a really interesting, unique kind of statement piece with a lip print, multicolor, ruffle collar, 100% silk, long sleeve, lots of good stuff going for it. It sold for $34 on Posh. This is a definite bolo brand, and I think I've showed this multiple times. This is the brand Howler Bros, which is a great menswear brand to be on the lookout for. There are certain pieces in Howler Bros that are going for a lot more than others. This would be one of those pieces. If you ever see a specific style name for Howler Bros, I would definitely look it up. This was called the Gaucho Snap Shirt, and it sold for $100 pre-owned on Poshmark. Crazy. So definitely keep your eye out for that brand. This is a brand that performs extremely well for me in spring and summer. It is Lily Pulitzer. This one's an extra large, so I listed it a lot higher. It sold for $46 on Posh. Here's another brand that doesn't perform like extremely well, doesn't have a high sell-through rate, but is a statement piece. You can see the bright multicolor. Worth, New York, multicolor chunky cardigan. I listed this probably for like $35 or $40 and accepted an offer of $29. Again, with the like loud in your face statement pieces, these are the things that people are buying right now. This is a brand that performs pretty well for me. In the men's department, it is the Territory Ahead. And this brand specifically, they're like size large men's button down tops, perform well. I can usually only get like 20-25 for them, but they're pretty consistent. This one I listed higher because it was like a Southwestern Aztec print, and I got $30 for it. Another bread and butter men's larger size items. This is a Ralph Lauren men's extra large linen striped shirt. It sold on an offer for $22. This one's kind of a bolo. LL Bean vintage pieces. Certain ones can do well. This is a vintage LL Bean men's robe. There's definitely some pieces in the sleepwear section that can perform well. This one sold on an offer to watcher for $38. More bread and butter. Coldwater Creek, larger size 3X, button down top, sold for $20. This is a category in general I look for in the handbag section, which are backpacks. People are really into backpacks and sling bags right now. I know that I am. So anytime I see a backpack in a popular brand, I look it up because it adds a lot of value. This is the brand The Sack, which I hardly ever get like at all anymore, but it was a backpack. It was neutral colored. I looked it up. It seemed to be doing pretty well. I think we listed this at $35. It sold on an offer to Watcher for $29. This I also got on that Virginia trip. It is Tory Burch silk dress. I was actually worried that I wasn't going to be able to sell this very quickly because after looking more into it, it was a style that a lot of people had, but I think the size 12 really pulled it through for me. So 100% silk, nice multicolored print, larger size. It sold for $45 and it actually sold like within the same week of listing it, I think. So that was awesome. More bread and butter. This is Catherine's 3X longer length knit cardigan. It sold for $20. South Pole Y2K men's waffle knit thermal shirt. I don't know how long this will be popular just because of the thermal and we're moving into warmer weather, but South Pole's a good one to look for in like vintage Y2K stuff. And these had a good sell-through rate at the time I looked them up. It sold for $20. More bread and butter. Here's kind of a bolo. This is the designer Helmut Lang. Not everything sells well or quickly in this brand, but it does retail for a lot. These had a lot going for it. They were 100% lamb leather, which lamb leather usually performs significantly better than regular leather because it's more soft. It's a little bit more movable. Plus these were a size 12 and they were new with tags. Awesome, right? Or sorry, new without tags. So a lot of stuff going for it. I listed it very high. I accepted a pretty competitive offer of $70 because I think I had these listed over $100, but wanted to move them quickly. We are about to go into warmer weather and leather's probably not going to be selling as well as it does in the winter. So accepted the offer of $70. Here's more soft surroundings. Again, midi to maxi length stuff in this brand does well, or plus sizes. This was a very small size and an extra small petite. However, it was new with tags and again, longer length. This one ended up selling for $45 on Posh. And lastly, this is the brand Abercrombie & Fitch, which has had a big resurgence, specifically in their like Y2K pieces. However, they do also have some more modern stuff that is selling well also. And if you ever see Abercrombie & Fitch with a specific style name on their jackets, I would definitely look it up. I've had really good luck with that. This was called the Saranac Lake jacket and it sold for $40.
All right, guys, that's it for what sold last week. Hope that you guys enjoyed watching. If you're not already and you would like to be, don't forget to subscribe down below, hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified every single time these videos go live. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.